Welcome to Bizzo Ambo life, and it's been a long trek, and we've been going for almost a year, well, over a year. Bought the ambulance in 2021 September, the end of September, so it's been a year and a week or two. And back during COVID, we thought we might end up using it as our recreational vehicle and maybe going full-time, who knew. And put a lot of effort into this, and the funny thing is we were coming up with all these cool names for it, and once you see it you'll realize that we went from some soft quantum of solace name to the Beast. And the reason we start out here is because we wanted you to see the things we've done outside on the roof, for one thing. Behind me you can see a satellite dish, that's a Starlink, and this cable is an anomaly, but what it does, it runs our house and our ambulance. We can take that Starlink anywhere. We've done it on crazy roads in BC that has no signal at all, but we run it on our tower here, and we have our router inside the house. You'll also see a couple of high definition cameras, 4K cameras with a PVR inside, and above me there's an air dam that I built out of checker plate, and we have 3 solar panels which are 200 watts each, and that's pretty much it. Let's do a tour of the outside of the ambulance. So the Beast is a Ford 350 Super Duty V10 gas, and people say, why gas? Well, I just like the sound of it. I don't like diesels. Anyway, this is full of compartments. This compartment here is the old oxygen tank container we use to store extra propane, heater, 20-foot tarp to go over the top of the truck if you need it. So the Beast has dualies. I think they're very good for weight distribution and everything else, but this is our door for our wood typically, but we also store water. A lot of wood in this compartment here. This is our mast for our satellite dish. It's a Starlink. It goes 24 feet in the air. This is what we call our garage, and it stores my my beer cooler, my tools. I got a chainsaw in here, and that's our bed. We also have lights under here. Can't see them right now, but we have lights, LED lights. We also have window covers on all windows, blackout windows. Over here we have our compartment for our propane, and we have a ladder that slides in and out of there, and that's the back end. So we have shore power hooked in at the moment, but we don't need shore power. We've got enough wattage, and we have 340 amp hours, so we can actually run this whole unit, the whole ambulance, for about 7 days boondocking. This is our control center. This is the brain of the whole ambulance. Believe it or not, it took to do the wiring on this, it took about 150 hours. It included electrician, electronic systems guy, and me, and we actually put it together so it runs really well. We have a flare system. This is our control panel. We'll show you inside, and we have storage down here for extra wiring, my toolkit, and that's pretty much it. So you've seen the outside of the truck, and it looks like an ambulance from the truck, except for a few accessories, but The big reveal is inside, so come on and join me. So welcome to the inner sanctum of the beast. And to start with, we've got this great little drop-down seat. And it's got a seatbelt, so we can carry 3 passengers legally. So come on in. So here we are. This is beginning of the cabin. You've seen the controls, and the batteries are in here. We've got 2 lithium iron phosphate 340 amp hours, which gives us enough power for at least 7 days in the boonies. This is our Berkey. This will actually pour. You can actually put swamp water in this thing, and it'll come out pure. We use it in the house when we're traveling. We'll just bring it in here. We've got. This is kind of cool. We've even got the holder for the hand sanitizer that came with the ambulance. So that's kind of cool. This is our control system to monitor our batteries, and this is the dual controls that we have in the front of the ambulance. They have them back here so we can control from either direction. I've gone and put lighting up in the cabinets, LEDs, strip lighting. It's really cool. If I can turn it off. Well, have it down here as well. And let's move on. So this is the beginning of our cab. What we had to do is we had to actually take out this piece of aluminum to make a path through, and I'll show you the console in the front. So this is the central control for our whole lithium iron phosphate battery system, including our DC alternator charger and our solar panels. This is it's a beast. That's why we call the truck the beast. This thing is about 85 pounds. It'll generate 3,000 watts. That goes into our batteries. And we also have a router here that controls our security systems and our PVR that's in the back. So it's kind of loud. You can probably hear it. Fans are on. It's just cooling down a little bit. But we've used heavy-duty gauge wire to run into our electrical panel, which you saw a minute ago. And inside there we have a DC to DC charger, which allows the alternator to generate power to power the batteries. So all these things go together. We've included a Renogy system here, which is a Canadian-made product. Well, there's a Canadian manufacturer in Canada, but it's a U.S. company, and we find them pretty darn good. So stay tuned. So here's the center console. We were going to take it out, but it's so cool. I mean, we have a reading light here. I've got all the controls for in the cabin of the ambulance. We have strobes. We have floodlights on each side of the outside. We have anti-theft controls on here. There's also temperature controls, and believe it or not, we even have a siren, which my wife won't let me play with because it's too loud. It'll scare the neighbors, and it's also illegal, so we won't be doing that today. But this is duplicated in the back, and we'll show you that in a minute too. So we have here a table. The table comes up. It's just hooked on here. The funny thing is, everything we used, well, not everything, but a lot of the things we used on this ambulance came from the ambulance. Like these cool hooks. We've used all the cabinetry. And this is our counter. The counter is butcher block. We have a very cool Furion stove here. We had a cheaper stove and we just sent it back. It wasn't good enough. 3 burner. It's got its own oven. And The funny thing about this whole thing is we realized the stove was too close to the bed, so we put this piece of aluminum, very thick aluminum, 1/8 of an inch. And if you look on the back, it's got the schematics for our electronic bay, because this actually was the cover for part of the electronics. So what we're doing is trying to reuse as much as we can in this build. Over here we've got our Sirocco 2 fan. It's a fan that will actually go just about anywhere. Jill really likes it because when she's sleeping, she likes it right on her face, so it's really cool that way. So let's move on to the other stove. So here's our cubic mini wood stove, Grizzly edition. It's the largest of the cubic minis, and surprisingly enough, it provides heat within about 10 minutes. We put a 7 or 8 inch log in it. It cut very small, obviously, and this little fan heats up. Once the stove's heating up, it just fires heat like crazy. It was the biggest challenge in my life to put a hole in the ceiling of this thing, but after a month of contemplation, I did it. This is a little counter that I made for Joe. It folds down. We've got 27 12-volt plugs throughout the whole ambulance, and they're strategically placed, obviously. Down here is where our OGO toilet goes. It goes in here, and when we want to use it, we just bring it out and put it between the seats in the front. We have these cool little tools that came with the Cubic Mini, and this is adorable. This is a big conversation piece in any campsite, and people come over and say, what are you doing with that thing? So over on this side, just to tell you, we had an architect actually look at this build, and he said, well, there's only certain places you can put the bed, the fridge, the stove, and all that stuff. So try to keep it as industrial as you can towards the way the ambulance was built. So we've left all these in here, and the padding is, I mean, this is incredible. We have 27 12-volt plugs throughout the whole ambulance. They don't take much power. We also have at least 6 110-volt plugs throughout the ambulance, spread out so we can use it for heavy-duty appliances and stuff. This is a little shelf that I made for Joe, and it just folds down when it's not in use. We've got 2 fans in the ceiling, which one draws air in, one draws air out. This is our bed. It's a queen short. Now we could have put a regular queen, but we thought it wouldn't fit, and my measuring system seems to be all messed up, so we got it's about 7 inches shorter than a queen lengthways, and Joe and I are just short anyway, so what the heck. We got these aluminum brackets from IKEA, which are used to put a headboard and footboard together in one of their beds. We got 4 of them, so it's ultra strong, and we topped it off with slats from IKEA to put the mattress on. So the mattress breathes, and the main thing is those long struts give us a complete basement, if you will, underneath the bed. So all the space underneath is completely free because of one other big thing, and that's our fridge freezer. It's an Iceco. It's 65 liters. It's got its own compartment for a fridge and a compartment for the freezer. It slides out 3.5 feet on these 500-pound runners, and this works really wonderful. and we get access to the garage from either side of it. It's wonderful. Now I'm going to use a cheat sheet here because there's a lot of people to thank. And the first one I'll mention is Wayne Hunkin. He's become a good friend of mine. He's another Crestline ambulance owner and electronic wizard. Between him and I, we did most electronics in this thing. I'll say me because I helped him. And he's got a channel called Healthy Adventuring in Palliative Care on YouTube, so check it out. There'll be a link below. George Hall is a handyman who helped me with the countertop. For some reason, I'm terrified of big projects to start them. Once they're started, I can do it. And then we have Glenn LaRock. My goodness, Glenn is an electrician. He was the first guy that came over here, and he worked 18 hours on the panel. And then I asked him for the bill, and he said he's not going to charge me. He says I've had too much fun. What do you say to that? We've become good friends. In fact, he was the first guy we had for dinner. We had spaghetti around our little table here. Beautiful guy. And Mo Obeid, he's an old friend. He's the chairman of Black Knight Security, and we love that guy. He helped me with the solar panels and, of course, put in our 4K camera system. So as far as sponsors or brands that we work with, we reached out to some brands, and only after exhaustive research did we reach out to them. And we picked the best. We have the Cubic Mini Wood Stove Limited. We're using their Cubic Mini Grizzly. It's a wonderful stove. We use the OGO Toilet, a composting toilet, which is unbelievable. It's a premier brand. And then we have Mount It, which is a company that provided us with laptop, iPad, and television mounts. The television is not set up yet, but it will be. And of course, Black Knight Security, which provided us with 4K state-of-the-art cameras, one in each side of the truck. One's a reverse camera, we're using that for that. One's a dash cam, and we have a PVR and a router specifically for this. So, in an upcoming video that we're going to see very soon, we're going to go over how we selected these components and why they were just at the top of the heap as far as we're concerned. And you'll get to see our process and how we did that. So I'd like you to please subscribe, please like our video and share it, and make a comment or two, because hey, we learn from the comments. Thank you.